Hey, what's going on, guys? You already know what day it is. It is the day after Sunday. So here we are again with another episode of Eat Up Mondays. Just want to say I thank you guys for joining me. I pray that you guys had a great weekend. I pray that all is going well in your lives. Listen, if you are watching this on YouTube and you have yet to subscribe to the channel, please do not forget to click that subscribe button. And after you click the subscribe button, click that bell. It will notify you every time we upload a video. Listen, I want to say thank you for all the love, the comments, the encouragement. We've been doing this 30-day Bible reading challenge for 10 minutes a day. I've been posting up a video every day of me reading the scriptures for 10 minutes. Man, I'm encouraged. I see a lot of you guys are encouraged. I appreciate those testimonies letting me know that it is encouraging you to get into the word more. And for those of you that are just following along and also still reading after the fact, all of it, I love it all. And it's just something about just reading the word just by itself, just reading it, no explanation, just allowing the words to flow. And I'm going to encourage you guys, as I'm reading these scriptures, as I'm reading these different books of the Bible, please seek the Lord. Ask him to give you revelation of his word, because we're just plainly reading. I'm not breaking down anything and explaining anything. That's a great opportunity for the Lord to really speak to you yourself as well, instead of just always constantly, allowing somebody else to give you the understanding or the revelation of the scripture, which is nothing wrong with that. But I encourage you, as you're listening along, and if you haven't been following us, please follow along. If you look up right now, you'll see a button where you can click to bring you right to the playlist. If you want to wait until the end of this video, I'll also add the playlist at the end of this video. But yeah, thank you guys once again. Listen, enough of me talking over the food. We know that the table is set. So without further ado, guys, let's dig in. Now, speaking of the Bible reading challenge, I've been reading through the book of John thus far. And we're around like day, I believe, 10 now. And I've been reading through the book of John. And as I was reading through the book of John, I believe it was on day 6 and day 7. It was between day 6 and day 7. I had read through the book of John, chapter 9. And I love that chapter because it deals with the blind man. If you guys are familiar with it, the disciples had asked Jesus, like, listen, Lord, why has this man been born blind? Is it because of his parents' sin? And in verse 3, Jesus answered them and said, neither have this man sinned nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. And I just think every time I read that, it's just so powerful, because a lot of times what happens is things happen in our lives, some things that we had no control over, and not knowing that sometimes God have allowed those things so that later on, when he changes those things and rearranges those things, and whether it's heal us or turn the situation around, it was all meant for him to get the glory. And that's why sometimes we have to be super careful about complaining about certain trials that we're going through, certain things that are happening in our lives that are not necessarily very encouraging at the times. As a matter of fact, it may be a situation where we may be down somewhat or feeling low. But the thing that we have to remember is that a lot of times those situations we are in, it gives God an opportunity to come in, work on our behalf, and get the glory out of it. But I love how in the story, how after Jesus opened up the man's eyes, how all of a sudden, everybody that he ran into, they either act like maybe it was him or it was him, and he's constantly telling them, listen, it's me. And it's so funny seeing that, because a lot of times when God does something in your life, especially something that's just unbelievable, something that people thought you would never come out of, that you would never see the other side of, a lot of times it's like they don't want to believe it. They think that there's some type of other way that you came through this, and you keep telling them, no, if it was not for God, I wouldn't be here. They'd be like, oh, you sure it wasn't because you made the decision to do? No, if it was not for the Lord I wouldn't have made it through the things that I went through. And I just think about my own self and how when I had lost my mind for those few years, and how God had brought me back, gave me a new mind, gave me a mind to read his word, to read his scriptures, to understand his scriptures through the spirit, just totally revamped my mind, renewed my mind. And a lot of times when I would run into people, you would just see that look on their face to where, it's like they can't believe that I am here in the flesh and in my right mind. And every opportunity I get, I try to make sure when I have that type of encounter that I give God the glory. I don't allow anybody to take that glory away from God. I don't allow myself to take that glory away from God by acting like it was something that I did or some decision that I made or some place that I moved from and moved to. It's like, no, if it was not for God, I probably would be in a mental ward somewhere right now or in the grave. But they just constantly stayed on this man. And we know that the Jews, they were trying to trip up Jesus, trying to get something on him. So they constantly kept asking this young man over and over, how did you receive your sight? It got to the point of where they went and got his parents and said, listen, is this your son? I love what the parents said when you look at verse 18. It says, but the Jews did not believe concerning him that he had been blind and received his sight until they called the parents of him that had received his sight. And they asked them, saying, is this your son? Verse 19, John 9:19. And they asked them, saying, is this your son, who ye say was born blind? How then does he now see? That's how people, act when God brings you out of something miraculous. They like, listen, how is it that you're still alive? How is it that you came out of that? I thought you were going to lose everything. I thought you was going to go to jail. Whatever your situation was, they like, how did you come out of that? Verse 20, his parents answered them and said, we know that this is our son and that he was born blind. But by what means he now seeth, we know not. Or who have opened his eyes, we know not. He is of age, ask him, he shall speak for himself. These words spake his parents because they feared the Jews. Like I said, the Jews, they were trying to trip up Jesus. For the Jews had already agreed that if any man did confess that he was Christ, he should be put out of the synagogue. Therefore said his parents, he is of age, ask him. And this is the last verse I'm going to read. Then again called they the man that was blind and said unto him, give God the praise. We know that this man is a sinner. He answered and said, whether he be a sinner or no, I know not. One thing I know, that whereas I was blind, now I see. So basically he said, man, say whatever you want about Jesus. All I know is he changed my life. And that's what I wanted to encourage you guys on today. Continue to give God the glory. The world is trying to say so much about the scriptures, about the Bible, about the Lord. He's fake. He's this, he's that, he's this, he belongs to this culture's religion. And it's like, listen, you say whatever you want about Jesus Christ. But one thing I can tell you for a fact, I know without a shadow of a doubt, he changed my life. And that's why he is my Lord and my Savior. And I'm telling you, we are living in times where the enemy is trying to do everything to get people to turn against the Lord. And we know that the scriptures is clear that the world, it hateth the Lord, it hateth the Bible, it hateth the scriptures. And we know that the Bible is constantly attacked, every single day from every single angle that they can find. They don't want you reading it on TV. They don't want you to talk about it on the news. I've seen people where they get on, certain news stations and start trying to talk about the Lord, and somebody just basically hit their mic. Like, they don't want to hear anything about the Lord unless you're talking something negative about the Lord. But how many know we're going to continue to give God the glory? Nobody could have did what happened in our lives but God. I don't know about you, but I would not be sitting here talking to you if it was not for Jesus Christ. So don't allow anybody to steal the Lord's testimony away from you, because remember, it's his testimony first. It's him showing his glory first. We're basically testifying of what he has done. We're basically telling his testimony. And I just want to encourage you guys, continue to do that. Somebody needs to hear it. Don't shy away. Don't allow anybody to make you feel any type of way because, the majority now is starting to turn their back and walk away from the Lord and not believe in the scriptures. No, you that are listening to the sound of my voice, you continue to give God the glory. And guess what? He will continue to work on your behalf and in your life. We're not going to allow anybody in this world. We're not going to allow the enemy. We're not going to allow those that work for the enemy. We're not going to allow this worldly system, nothing to steal God's testimony away from us. So just like this young man, that's the type of attitude we got to keep, guys. That's how we got to stand strong on his word and what he's done in our lives. I've seen people that testify until their eyes popped out about how much the Lord had done for him, and he did. And then years later, turn around and act like, well, they wasn't sure how it really happened. It could have been coincidence. Maybe it was luck. And it's like, wait a minute. You know that nobody could have did for you what the Lord has done. But that's what's happening in this world. The enemy is trying to use whatever he can to discourage us from telling our testimony and telling people how good God is. But guess what? I don't know about you, but I am not going to stop. So listen, guys, continue to give God the glory. Listen, don't forget to tap into our 30-day Bible reading challenge. We're going to be reading 10 minutes each day. I'm going to put the playlist at the end of this video if you want to start where we are currently, or if you want to start from the beginning and catch up. They're only 10 minutes of video, and I think today marked our 10th day. So it's not going to be hard to catch up at all if you want to go through them. But either way, join us, guys. Just sit, meditate, and listen to the word. And I know it will be an encouragement to you. But know that I love you guys. Until the next time we share a beautiful spiritual meal together, shalom.